Hello everybody! I'm so excited for today's video because as soon as I'm done I'm going to be able to start reading Rhythm of War again. Um, yeah, so I've took a break last week because I wanted to focus on my video for this week, which I then decided to put on the back burner indefinitely. So instead, I've decided to do a March TBR or to be read, like what I plan to read in March. I don't really know how I feel about TBRs because like I don't really plan out what books I'm going to read. I usually just pick up the next book that I have available. Um, but I figured with it being the first day of March, it'd be the perfect time to release a TBR, so I figured I'd give it a try. So I have a few books that I have in mind to start reading. I think most people usually, when they make a TBR list, they own the books or they make a plan to go out and buy the book. I don't really plan to go buy any of the books, but I put them all on hold at the library, and well, they'll hopefully be available soon, because I use the library and it's fun. I don't know. It's harder to do in 2020 and 2021, so we'll see how soon I'll get the books. So as I was reading Rhythm of War, I couldn't even tell you I lost count of how many times that Dawn Shard was referenced. And I guess I made a mistake of not reading Dawn Shard before reading Rhythm of War. I didn't really necessarily think it's important, slash I didn't really, like, it wasn't really on my radar. And so like Dawn Shard is a novella in the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. That's between Oathbringer and Rhythm of War. And I have an idea of what it's about, but I don't really want to didn't want to look it up enough to like figure out how to describe it to you guys. So that's all you gotta get. Sorry. It's not like, I don't think it's really integral to like information for that to Rhythm of War too much. I don't think like I could read it and discover there's a whole plot point that I missed because I didn't read Dawn Shard. But I didn't think it was necessary to stop reading Rhythm of War and go back to read Dawn Shard, sorry. So I didn't, but I will be reading that this month for sure. So if you're up to date on, if you've watched all my videos, you know that I've talked about the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. I figured now is as good a time as ever to start reading it, so I placed the first book, The Eye of the World, on hold at the library and am looking forward to reading that. It seems to be about like the 5 like protagonists. They have like weird names that I didn't want to like embarrass myself trying to like pronounce them and remember them. So the 5 protagonists, their hometown is attacked and they have to flee because they're the ones being targeted by like these Trollocs, Trollocs, which are like half men, half beasts, and they have to go on this whole adventure to save their village and whatnot. Obviously, there's probably a lot more to it than that, but to me, that kind of sounds like Lord of the Rings a little bit. Don't hate me if you think that's totally like weird, but like that's just the way it seems. But like I don't have a problem with that because I haven't read Lord of the Rings, but like I would like it. I just haven't read it yet. Anyways, so Eye of the World, have that on hold and planning to read that as soon as possible. So again, another book that I've mentioned wanting to read is The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. I'm sorry, I can't say the name. Which is like the first in the Witcher series. I started reading it in August last year, 2020, but I got distracted and started reading other books. So I had to return it to the library, but hopefully I will get it back soon so I can start reading it again, because it was very fascinating. Because like with Geralt, he's a witcher and he goes and he kills monsters, and there's some like fairy tale there's like fairy tale twists mixed in there, so that's like totally my jam, and looking forward to reading that as well. Next, we have a new one that I've recently decided to look into. It's called Name of the Wind by Rothfuss. I think I forgot what the fudge. I forgot to look at the top. Patrick Rothfuss. I forgot to look at the author's name. So Name of the Wind. I've a lot of my favorite booktube channels have mentioned Name of the Wind, and so I decided I would look into it and found that it was about this young man who has magical abilities and who sets out on a journey to become the most notorious wizard the world has ever seen. And I'm all about that magic, so I looking forward to reading that as well. So next we have Where the Crawdads Sing. I originally was not going to look at what this was about, and kind of just like surprise myself, but I decided I might as well, just for like the purposes of this video, look at what it was about so I can describe it to you guys a little bit. And I was very surprised to learn it was kind of a murder mystery. So it's set in 1969, and someone has died and everyone suspects the outcast type person, because who else wouldn't suspect the outcast type person? I don't know. So I was not expecting that, so I'm very intrigued to read it now. And if you've watched my last movie, if you read my last post, I don't know. If you watched my last movie, I don't know, sorry. If you watched my last video, you saw me, and I showed you guys The Forever King by Molly Cochran and Warren Murphy. Just read those like backwards off my screen, so that I'm giving myself props there. Forever King, I kind of introduced it. It's modern day twist to King Arthur and Camelot. I'll probably read this probably sooner rather than later, since I actually have a copy of it, and most of the others I just have a hold at the library. So looking forward to reading this. This next book is pretty new. It's called Lordan Awakening. I kind of know the author, Chris Lee Ellsworth, and I want to read that book. It's a fantasy. I think it has magic in it. But that's all I'm going to say, because I do plan to do something with that in the future sometime. Those are the books that I plan to read this month. I definitely won't get to all of them. I'm going to be starting with Dawn Shard because by pure luck they had it at the digital library, on the digital library. I got it off a digital library app, so I get to dive into that as soon as I'm done with Rhythm of War. Except I will probably be comatose for a few days after I finish Rhythm of War because it's not looking good. Sorry. And then I probably will immediately jump into the Forever King after that. Well, I don't know about immediately after. I don't know. That, and then we'll just see when I get the other books and go from there. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good day, and like, share, and subscribe, and let me know what you think of these books, and if you have any other book suggestions, I will happily take those.